So I'm here with Kyle Testerman at one of our Aspetuck Land Trust properties. Kyle, you want to tell me what you've been up to?
Yep, I've been studying the distribution of carnivores in Connecticut. They're in a lot of places, and I'm just trying to we're trying to understand a little bit more of where they're more likely to occur in some parts of the states than others.
So you've done a lot of state properties, and now you're doing more private preserves?
Yeah, I've been working initially on a lot of properties that were managed for New England Cottontails in the state, which is a species of high conservation concern. And so I'm trying to study where their predators are, the predators of New England Cottontails, which are mostly bobcats, coyotes, foxes, weasels, as far as mammals.
And this is a motion detector camera?
This is an automatically triggered camera. It's got heat and motion sensitive triggers, and I've got a visual lure, which kind of got wrapped up here, and I've got a scent lure over here. And the purpose of these is that if there's a carnivore that happens to be right in the area, it's maybe going to be a little more likely to walk in front of the camera and be detected. Because these species occur at really low densities, there aren't many of them in an area, and they have very large home ranges, they use a lot of land, it's unlikely that you're going to actually get it on camera, even if it's using the area. So you try and use some attractants to try and get them in front of the camera.
And you mentioned that the attractant on this pole, this lure, camera lure, what is it comprised of?
Generally it's made up of bobcat gland, some bobcat meat, and catnip, and it's just a standard commercial trapping lure. And you just put a little bit on this cloth wick that I have, and it absorbs up the scent for a little while.
And once again, you mentioned that it often attracts.
It attracts a lot of things besides the carnivores that I'm looking for. So, even deer will come up and smell this. Possums will try and eat it, so they'll rip up the wick. But raccoons also, and if there's any dogs in the area, they'll try and rub up against it.
And you selected this particular property because
it has sort of a shrubby area, and that's the primary habitat of a lot of animals that use shrub habitat. So it tends to be very prey dense and more likely for carnivores to use this type of area.
And tell me again, what is you're in school, you're getting your master's right now?
Yeah, I'm a grad student at Central Connecticut State University, studying wildlife biology and conservation, and this is part of my thesis project, studying this distribution of carnivores.
So when you take the memory card out, you're going to take these back to your computer, and
yeah, these cameras use just a standard camera SD card, and it's taken pictures over the last 2 weeks, and when I get back to my computer, I'll be able to go through the pictures as taken and see if there's been any carnivores on it, and hopefully there will be.
This project is going on for how long, and how many more properties are you going to be studying?
I've been surveying about 30 properties so far, and I've been doing it since August, and I'll be continuing through the end of March.
Quick question about coyotes. How many coyotes have you been noticing here in the southern Fairfield County area?
I've detected coyotes at a few properties, and certainly they're abundant in the state all around, and they seem to be expanding more and more. And in areas like Fairfield County where there's a lot of people and a lot of roads, and there's certainly people are going to notice them a lot more than they will in other areas where there are less people, and then the potential for some kind of conflict is higher when there's more people around and more people noticing these animals.
So essentially we need to adapt to the fact that they are here.
They're here.
Adjust our lifestyles.
They're relatively new to the area, so that's one thing that I think people are concerned about, is they weren't here. They're not native to this part of the country, but for the most part they keep away from us, and we need to sort of do our best to live with them, and that goes with all the carnivores, the bears, and the bobcats as they become more common too. And I think we can probably keep it together.
I think I'm so excited about the bobcats. They're pretty elusive.
Right. Yeah, they're tough to see, and unlike the coyotes, they tend to be solitary, very solitary, where the coyotes might live in a small group of 2 or so. So it's even less likely that you'll get a bobcat on camera if it's using the area. But they seem to also be expanding in the state, and that's one of the things I'm interested in, is seeing what parts of the state they're more likely to be found in. If they might be all over in every town, but they might not be using the habitat in the same way, and they might be less likely to use this type of habitat than in other areas.
This information, all of the data that you're compiling is going to be provided to Connecticut Deep, is that correct?
Yeah, because they've been helping me with surveying some of these sites. They've allowed me to go onto some of their properties. It's information that will help them in a couple aspects. The people who work with the carnivores, and then also the people who work to conserve the New England Cottontail, because again, these are the primary predators, and the main cause of mortality for New England Cottontails is predation from these species. So that's one reason why I'm surveying in habitat that's suitable for New England Cottontails.
So this is fabulous. Thank you, Kyle.
Yep.